Hello girls, thank you for clicking on this video. I would like for you to go ahead and comment down below a prayer request and something fun you did this week. Let's get started. So today we're going to wrap up our story on Joseph. Now, just because we call these stories does not mean they are fairy tales. I love a good fairy tale, but these things actually happened. This is like really cool history. I always hated history in school. No, I don't recommend that. You need to know that stuff. You just do. But this is really cool history. So next week we're going to be in the New Testament towards the back in 1 Peter. But today we are wrapping up Joseph's story. So we know that last week we left off where Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery. At this point, he's been in prison. He's been serving in Potiphar's house, in prison. Now he's with Pharaoh. He's number 2 in command over all of Egypt. So he's doing pretty awesome at this point. Finally, right? But something really interesting and shocking happens. So Joseph was now the second in command in Egypt. For 7 years, Joseph helped the people save and store food from the famine. For 7 years, Joseph helped the people to save food for the famine that was coming. Now, a famine is when there's no food. Like they couldn't grow any crops or anything. So he was saving it up. He knew this. God used Joseph. Meanwhile, Joseph's brothers and his father, Jacob, were back in Canaan. In Canaan, the famine came, and they were starving literally to death. So what people would do is they would travel to Egypt, and they would beg to buy corn or wheat from Joseph. He happened to be the one in charge. Now remember, his brothers and his father think that he is dead at this point. His brothers know that they sold him into slavery, so maybe they think he's a slave still somewhere, or maybe he's dead by now. What they don't know is that they're going to need his help. So Joseph's brothers traveled to Egypt and bowed before Joseph to ask him for food. Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him because where he's from, you know, they're shepherds. They're just very plain. In Egypt, he had on the eyeliner and the gold stuff, and he was not looking like himself. So his brothers had no idea that that was him, Joseph. Joseph decided to test his brothers to see if they had changed. Joseph wanted the brothers to bring Benjamin back to Egypt. Now, Benjamin's Joseph's baby brother. It's just Joseph and Benjamin that were born to one wife. Then the other brothers were born of another wife. Men back then had more than one wife. Not today. So Joseph put the brother Simeon in prison and sent the other 9 brothers back home with some grain. When the brothers needed grain again, they returned to Egypt with Benjamin. Joseph hid a silver cup in Benjamin's bag. Then Joseph tried to take Benjamin away, but Judah begged him not to. Please, he said, our father loves him and will die if Benjamin doesn't return home. Joseph knew that his brothers had changed. He began to cry and told his brothers, I am Joseph. God sent me here to help you. Can you believe how freaked out they must be? And they knew it was him. They knew it was his voice. And he wept. And he asked, is my father still alive? And they said, yes. And he rejoiced and wept with them. You know what? I don't know if I could have done that. If I was Joseph and my brothers came, I might have let them starve. I don't know. That's not the right thing to do. But that's really a huge and difficult thing that Joseph did by forgiving his brothers. And you know what? He said, don't be hard on yourselves. God sent me here to save a lot of people's lives. Because if he hadn't have known through God and the wisdom that God gave him, if he hadn't have known to save the food up for those 7 years, who knows how many people would have died from starvation. Joseph told his brothers to return home and bring back their father Jacob. and their families. Joseph promised to take care of everyone during the famine. Later, when Jacob died, Joseph's brothers became afraid. They were worried that Joseph would get revenge on them now that their father was dead. But Joseph told the brothers, "Don't be afraid. You planned something evil for me, but God used it to create something good." So our text truth today is that even when we can't see it, God is using our tough times to create something good. So I know a lot of us, as we're getting older, we're facing some harder things and some tough things go on at school and stuff. But you just know that even through tough times, God's got something really good planned. Let's look in Romans 8:31b. So the second half of that verse. It says, "If God be for us, who can be against us?" So we know that if we have accepted Jesus as our Savior and we are a child of God, that He is for us. He's always with us. And no matter what anybody else does to us, who can really be against us if God's on our side? The God of the whole universe. He watched out for Joseph, and He will watch out for you. Thank you, girls, for watching. I love you, and I'll see you next week.